Yeah.
You know, what's more embarrassing? San Diego giving up 4th and 29 to Ray Rice.
It's not embarrassing. It's unfortunate. And it's because they were guarding against the deep pass to, you know, they couldn't let that happen. They couldn't let a play go over their head. So what happened is everybody went deep. They ran Ray Rice on a wheel out of the backfield and gave it to him underneath. And he happened to scramble. And to be honest, the whole key to that, did you see the block that Bolden,
Anquan Bolden put on Eric Weddle?
Without that block, he doesn't make that extra yardage. So to me, that was the bigger aspect of that play. So as far as embarrassing, if I'm San Diego, I'm not embarrassed. It's just unfortunate.
See,
the Sanchinator just sucks.
But see, to me, if I'm San Diego, I am embarrassed. You watched the initial group. He makes 6 guys miss him by just going like that. Not a cut, just like that.
But he's also one of the best backs in the league. This isn't like 4th and 29, you know.
You corral the man, though. You have everybody come at him. I don't understand that.
You're going to tell me that's more embarrassing than the Sanchinator, and I'm going to tell you you're crazy. Because he just sucks.
I don't know,
He's
man.
an embarrassment every time he steps on the field.
You expect him to make that mistake.
Nobody expects him to run into his own lineman and fumble the ball. Nobody expects that. And if you expect that out of your starting quarterback, there is something wrong with your team.
Rodgers ran into his starting offensive lineman last night for a sack.
But that's for a sack. Shit happens.
So if he drops the ball, then it's a fumble.
But that happens from time to time. What doesn't happen is you running into the back of your lineman like an oaf and fumbling the ball. At least secure the thing. At least secure it.
I have an issue with both. I mean, to me, both of them are ridiculous.
Yeah, but if you ask the fact of who is more embarrassing...
To me, the 4th and 29 is. I don't know. I'm sorry. You win that game, you tackle him. It's that simple.
But that's not embarrassing. It's unfortunate. Embarrassing is embarrassing yourself. Nothing that the San Diego defense did individually was embarrassing. They all made an effort. They all tried. And they all did their job. It was an underneath pass that Ray Rice was able to scramble. And Ray Rice is one of the best backs in the league. If he happens to make some guys miss, go around some guys, and get a first down after a great block from his wide receiver.
He just like that. He didn't even make people miss. He just ran like that. Look, you watch running backs. I
understand what you mean by he ran like that.
You watch running backs in the NFL, Ray Rice included, make cuts sometimes, and you're just like, wow. Right? Right?
These guys weren't close enough where he had to make a jump cut like that.
You make it seem like he was yards away from the line.
You make it seem like he's this close and he's making guys miss. The guys were yards away and they were trying to come at an angle.
You corralled the guy.
Dude, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about what should have happened.
What should have happened? Corral him? Come on now, you couldn't corral that play.
Yes, you can. You've got 9 guys running down the field.
He caught the ball on the right sideline. Now, meanwhile, the guys on the left side of the field chasing the wide receivers are still chasing the wide receivers. They don't have eyes in the back of the head.
They're playing a soft shell zone coverage. They're not playing man in that play. Every guy on the field is making sure that the wide receivers don't get behind them and watching what the quarterback does with the ball. They're not one guy on that field is running with his back to the quarterback.
You make it seem like it was like, a Benny Hill production out there where everybody just kind of got in line and followed where Ray Rice was running. That's not how it worked.
What else do you want to call it?
And those guys were coming down. The guys on the left side of the field were coming down. And he would have gotten stopped if it wasn't for Bolden's great block.
Look at it like this. When somebody returns a punt return or a kickoff for a touchdown, what do they tell you? To stop it from happening, what do they tell the coverage team? Stay in your lanes, right? That's what they always say. Coverage teams give up returns for staying in your lane.
Though.
It's a 30-yard play.
It's not coverage.
If you play lanes, they're not letting him go.
They weren't playing lanes. What don't you understand about it? No, that wasn't the defense that was called.
All right, whatever.
That wasn't the defense. The defense wasn't a lane coverage defense. You make it seem like, Ray Rice just ran around to the left and he ran around everybody. I watched it.
He ran around. Outside of the Bolden block, he got San Diego blew that.
No, you're
Ray Rice
delusional.
didn't do anything special. Anquan Bolden threw an amazing block, and San Diego choked.
San Diego didn't choke.
Oh, my God. What would you call... Oh, we got Brian calling. Hold
But
on.
he didn't choke.
They choked.
You're delusional.
You're delusional. Brian,
You're
you
a
there
mess.
with us?
Yes.
All
Brian,
right.
I hope
guys.
you're not paying too much attention to the nonsense my partner over here is spewing.
Look, my friend, you're not always right. You're wrong on that one.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
if you're telling me, Brian, let me ask you a question. What's more embarrassing? The Sanchinator running into his own offensive lineman's ass and fumbling, or the 4th and 29 that the Ravens gave up yesterday? What's more embarrassing, to give up a 4th and 29?
Honestly, I mean, I'd have to say the 4th and 29 is pretty poor.
Thank you.
More poor than an NFL starting quarterback running into the ass
But
of his
it's
own
Mark Sanchez. It's not just some guy. It's not Tom Brady. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's not Drew Brees. It's
That's
Sanchez.
why it's embarrassing. It's
You
another
expect him to
embarrassment for
suck.
the Jets.
All right, Brian. We've only got a little time.
I mean, the 4th and 29 was more shocking to me.
Thank you, sir.
I guess nothing. I guess the difference is nothing really surprises me when it comes to Mr. Sanchez. So I guess if you look at it that way, you know.
All right. All right. Well, glad we got you on today, buddy.
Sure.
We were talking on Saturday. And, yeah, I wanted to get your take on a couple things. We'll just hit them quick because we're running out of time here. The first one is wanted to give you props for calling out the last time that we talked about Ed Reed's fine and suspension being reduced, because you were right about that, and the NFL went back and looked at it, and they, again, agreed like you did and said that that was a little bit too harsh. So, give you credit on that one. What I really want to ask you about, though, is, I mean, why wouldn't the league want to change the rule about what happened on Thanksgiving Day between the Lions and the Texans, where a play became unreviewable because the coach threw his challenge flag when the play was already going to be automatically reviewed because it was a scoring play? Now, the NFL has come out and said, listen, we're not going to change the rule no matter what. It's still going to be a personal foul penalty, and the play is still going to be on. Why would they refuse to change that rule?
Well, let me ask you: is it that they're refusing to change it mid-season, or they're coming out and they're saying that?
No, even next season,
don't
they
wanna
came
change
out
it
and
at all.
said next season even they're not changing it.
Well, the competition committee will have to take a look at that. It's not one guy at the league office that makes that decision. There's 8 guys who sit on the committee, and they're from all different clubs, throughout the league, and they're going to have to sit down, most likely in the off season, and make that determination themselves. I think the league coming out and making a statement like that is probably just to make sure that people back off, at least for this year. They want to take the focus off of the rule for this year. But I can't imagine that somebody would come out now and say this rule will never be changed, because there's nobody at the league office who could really make that statement. So if they did make that statement, it's just so the fans and everybody who's critical of the rule just backs off for the time being, I would imagine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I pretty much clears it up, I guess. But
Now let's get to let's bounce to the Sue thing then.
Yeah.
Let's get
a
your
little more
opinion
fun
on that.
topic here. Well, for us anyway, not going to be fun for Mr. and Sue. I guess apparently on Thanksgiving Day, I missed it. Dave's seen it a bunch of times. It's been replayed a lot. Mr. and Sue yet has another blunder and apparently kicked Matt Schaub right in the nuts. Now I'm wondering,
Right.
being that he is such a repeat offender to the I guess the personal foul penalties against quarterbacks, whether it be
for players you play with,
whether it be
that'd be the
shots to
problem.
the head, whether it be whatever. Since he is a repeat offender, what kind of fine do you think the NFL is going to levy on this? And do you think that Sue would be stupid enough to do this on purpose?
Yeah, I think, like you said, he's a repeat offender. He's a habitual offender, so the league will take that into consideration when determining whether to levy a fine, and if they decide to levy a fine, in what amount. I think he's proving to be a guy that maybe can't control himself. I don't know exactly who to blame for that. I think the franchise, the Lions themselves have to start taking control of the situation, because I saw it, and my personal opinion, if I'm looking at it objectively, is that it was intentional. With that being said, I think that's much more egregious than some of these helmet-to-helmet hits you see, because frankly it's intentional, and it's like we discussed last time, guys. I think moving forward, if the league wants to gain any credibility in levying these fines, they need to come up with a structure for not only determining who should be fined for what, but what amounts. And this is a case where you're dealing with an intentional act on the part of the player, and I think a fine, rather a suspension, would be more than reasonable.
See, and that's the thing. I don't feel like he purposely did it. I don't. I mean, I
apparently
understand.
You're in the minority there, because
I am in the minority.
Everybody else thinks that he kind of did it.
Oh, yeah, going into halftime, Phil Simms sounded like he wanted somebody to go rip him off the field right then and there. Phil Simms didn't even want him to get back onto the field. And, I mean, I think that, look, I have a hard time believing that a grown man of his size can get thrown to the ground and still have the mental consciousness to not be worried no longer about the play on the field, but rolling over and making sure that his foot nails Schaub in the nuts.
Hey, look, everybody has their own opinion, right? I mean, that's that's what makes this stuff interesting. In my opinion, I think it was intentional. I think you could look at his past history of that type of behavior and say, yeah, I mean, at the very least, he needs to make sure that if it wasn't intentional, that he needs to make sure that that type of contact doesn't occur as often, because it's happened multiple times in the past. So that's something that the league office will take into consideration, and I think Mr. Sue deserves another call into the league office to discuss what's going on here.
And now, do you think that he is a guy that deserves to lose a game check? I mean, we all know how many times this guy's been in the news for things of this nature. Is he a guy that's going to get suspended and lose a game check? I mean, is he going to be that guy?
Oh, I think it's certainly within the realm of possibility. I think he should. I think habitual offenders, like I said, that's what we're talking about here, is intent versus negligence. Intentional acts need to be, if like I said, the NFL wants to gain any credibility, with the way they go about fining guys, with the way they go about suspending guys, you need to punish those players who engage in intentional acts that could cause severe injury, versus guys who are playing the game within the bounds of the rules, albeit the NFL does not consider helmet-to-helmet contact within the bounds of the rules. But sometimes, let's face it, you can't help it. And as players get bigger and stronger, player safety will be jeopardized every once in a while. It's just a harsh reality. But what you can avoid is the intent, the intentional act.
Yeah, and the simple fact of the matter is that what you said about players getting faster and stronger, and the safety stuff is just going to get harder and harder for them to figure out. And that's one of the things we keep talking about, is that, all the rules they're trying to make and this, that, before you know it, you end up with 7-on-7 flag football, and it's just, not the game we all grew up loving.